All right, now that we have our frog body and leg parts made, we are going to move on to what we're calling the crankshaft parts. These are all the parts that rotate on the dowels, so we need a few of them. The parts will be the pulley. This is all the parts we need to make the pulley. We call this the crank arm, and we're calling this the long dowel. The short dowel. Now there are two types of washers. A washer that does not move on the dowel, it's called a snug washer, and a loose washer. These will be wood parts. So basically everything in this part studio is made out of wood except for the pulley will be made out of cardboard. So let's begin, and we're going to switch back over to our project here, and let's add a part studio for the crankshaft parts. Crankshaft parts, we'll rename this. All right, so it's handy to, these parts will all be installed using the assemblies, but it's handy to draw them on the right plane, because as you can see with our frog itself, as we have that already here, the body and leg parts, P for planes, the dowels will go through these. Let me get rid of my mates. Remember, K hide your mates. So we want to draw that washers and dowels so that they're going this way on the right plane. So let's go and do that on the right plane. So we're going to start with a sketch. Basically going to draw everything in one sketch, except for our second half of our pulley. So we want to pick our right plane, click the N key, and we're drawing. So doesn't really matter what order you draw all these in. I think I started with the dowels, so we can do the dowels. The dowels are exactly 1/8 of an inch diameter, so we can type that in when we go and draw them. So let's start with the dowels. It's nice to have a construction line here to constrain everything to, so let's just add one. This is a nice time to talk about the Q, toggles construction. So if I hit Q and then start my line, I'll get a nice construction line. There we go, we've got a construction line. And we can start drawing we'll start drawing our dowels on that line. So we're going to do a center point circle, just put it right on the line, and then equal sign. We can just type the number, it's 1/8 inch. I don't think I have a dowel in here. Do I have a dowel diameter? No. So we're just going to type it. They're always 1/8 inch. They're made that way. So 1/8. We are using millimeters, so a way to just use inches right now is just type IN, and it converts it to millimeters for us. What's nice is if I have to go change that, it shows what I typed, 1/8 inch. Okay, so there's my 1/8 inch dowel. It's up to you if you want to constrain these. We can just add a dimension, draw them all in. Oops, I did not get that. I want a dimension from the origin to the center of my, I don't know what's going on there. Oh, I must have picked the line. There we go. Okay, dimension from the origin to the center here. There we go. How about 20 millimeters? There we go. Now we've got a nice constrained circle for our dowel. That's going to be our long dowel. Let's make another one for our short dowel. We'll just add it again. It's 1/8 inch. Never going to change. No need to make a variable. And we can dimension center to center again, another 20 millimeters. There we go. We can just keep drawing all these. Let's we'll come back to this sketch and add them. Let's make the dowels. So we'll go and leave here. There they are on our right plane. And the dowels are nice. Just make an extrusion. Click on our circle. And the dimensions are in there. Dowel. So this will be the long dowel. I like to make it symmetric. That seems kind of a nice way to draw that. That's our long dowel variable. So click that, and we've got our long dowel. Now it does hide our sketches when we extrude. You can go and unhide it. And let's go and extrude our short dowel. And let's do symmetric and short dowel. We'll get into these how I came up with the dowel lengths when we get into the assembly. But for now, just use the variables and you'll be all good. There are our dowels. So you do want to rename these. This is a pretty simple part studio, so the main thing you want to do is name the parts. And short dowel. And let's go back into our sketch. Those are our dowels, and let's start adding our washers next. So our washers will also be based on a circle. A couple different dimensions for that circle. So we're going to draw, and we're going to use, you can type =, hashtag, we can see what we have for our holes. Snug wood hole. So this is going to be what's called a snug washer, and then a loose hole will be our loose washer. So let's start with a snug wood hole, and we can dimension this, get it nice strained, just be 20 millimeters. Okay, the snug wood hole, which we have a variable for that, so we can dimension that here. And washer diameter is 10 millimeters. Hit enter. And there we go. This is our snug washer. And let's go ahead and let's create that real quick so we don't get them confused. We're going to extrude it. And it's going to be, these are made out of wood. So wood, first time we'll start using wood thickness. I have them the same right now just to make things easy, but we can change them later. Wood thickness, and we are going to, I like symmetric, so we're going to use that, and we're going to rename this part to snug washer so we don't get them confused. This is our snug washer. Go back into our sketch, and now we'll make our loose washer. So we need to make a new, let's hit N, and that's going to be, this is our, oops, oh yeah, =. If you try to type a hashtag while you have that, it does that. So that's why you have to do =. First, hashtag, this is going to be a loose cardboard hole, or loose all holes. So loose washers or loose hole will be used for cardboard and wood. So that's what we use for the inside. And let's get that dimension there so that it's nice and constrained. So 20 there. And now we want to do our outside of that washer. And washers generally just make things space out. That's to keep things from running into each other. That is going to be our washer diameter. Enter. Which is the same as our other one. Oops. Control Z. I often forget to hit escape. And there's our 10. Notice 3.6, 3.18. This is our loose washer. So let's go ahead and extrude that. Technically, we could add it to our wood extrude. So we could just go ahead and do that. As long as we're doing new parts, which I don't think we can add it to anything. No, that would fail. Now we have our, rename it to loose washer. Okay, so what do we have left? We've got, all right, here we have the crank arm we're going to make, and the pulley. So let's work on what's called the crank arm. So crank arm, we'll go back into our original sketch, and we'll start the crank arm. Crank arm can go over here. So let's just draw that one onto that construction line as well. Let me get those dimensions. All right, so the crank arm we're going to add to that sketch, and we're going to do some mirroring, actually a mirroring of the extruded part instead of just in the sketch. We did some mirroring in the sketch before for the sides, but we'll do a mirror here for the entire part. So we're going to we're going to draw half of our crank arm. So we're going to start with a rectangle. We'll constrain it here, and let's go here. So this is going to be equal sign crank arm width, and then enter equal sign again. This time crank arm length divided by, cursor back up there, this is going to be half of the length, so we can use a slash and divide it by 2. Okay, and let's just give our dimension there for our constraints. We'll make that 20 away. Okay, so the other thing we want is we want a hole in the crank arm to attach the dowel to. So we're going to do a hole, and here's where we're going to want to use that the hover command. Actually, before I do, I'll move this out of the way so you can see this. So we're going to grab our circle again, center point circle, hover until we find the midpoint constraint right there, and then again move down. So we're going to bring it down, and we can click anywhere. We're going to use dimension here. This will be a equal sign snug wood hole. Snug hole, we want the dowel to fit tightly into there. Hit enter. And now we want this distance here. So we're going to dimension D key from here to that point. And we have a variable for that too. It's called, actually I can just do a hashtag, I'll show you here. It is the fillet, hang on, crank arm fillet. We'll use that again when we do the extruded. So crank arm fillet is currently 5 millimeters. So we'll add that fillet later. So let us finish this sketch and finish this out. I'll show you a new trick in our feature list here to do some mirroring in the feature list. So this is also made out of wood, so we can add it. We can rename this, call this our wood extrude, since it's all of our wood parts, and we can just add it to there. So there's our wood extrude. We're using the wood thickness there. Now we want to add a fillet to this, so we want to fillet the side of this. So let's go and add our fillet, and we want it to be, our radius is going to be, do this first. If you just type crank arm fillet, it's 5 millimeters, and then we need to pick a face. We want to fillet this face, right? Oop. Hang on. Fillet these corners, sorry. Fillet the corners, and that rounds it out. Okay, so then we just click that. Now we have half of our crank arm. We can use the mirror command. It's up here, but always easy to find it by searching Alt-C mirror. That's the search toolbar. Click mirror. Okay, we want to mirror entities. This one. Mirror plane is going to be that front plane. No, sorry. We want it to be the top plane because we want to go up and down. Mirror plane should be the top plane. You can pick it on the left here. I think it's easier. And merge scope is part 5, so we want to add to that part. So it's merging, creating a single part. That is our crank arm. We'll rename that crank arm. Okay. Enter. If we hide that sketch, we can see it's one solid piece ready to be used. Okay, so now our last pieces are our dowels. Our pulleys. So let's just draw those. We can drag this out a little bit further, and let's add a pulley. I have 2 pulleys here, so let's start with our first one. Pulley inner diameter, which is 35. I was off by a decimal point. 35 millimeter. Oops. Oh, I got another dimension hiding over here. It's just the one I just did before. So undo that. It's over here. So we do have Oh, good thing to point out, if you have a gray dimension, it means you already dimensioned it. So you can delete the gray ones unless you just want to read the dimension. Let's move this. The large pulley we can draw right on top of this one if we want. Let's just give us a little more space between here. So we'll go from this point to here. Let's make that, oh, I guess 40 millimeters is fine. And our last one is to draw that'll be these are going to be cardboard. So that's our inner pulley. Let's do one more. We can grab this point, drag it out. Oops, escape. So a little more room. This is not constrained. That's why the end is blue. So let's add one more circle here for our outer pulley. Equal sign pulley. Pulley outer diameter should be slightly larger than the inner. And then we'll just get a dimension there. Just call it 50. Okay, so we are done drawing our, oops, hang on. We are not done. We need our holes for our dowels to go through. So this is going to use another circle, and that is going to be equals, this is snug cardboard hole. So these are cardboard. Snug cardboard hole is slightly smaller than the dowel, so it fits nice and tight. I'm going to do the same thing here. Probably not the most efficient way to do this, but it's going to make for an easy video. Oh, somehow I got the construction line set. Let's start over on that again. Equal sign, snug cardboard hole. There we go. Oops, escape, Control Z. Let's try to move that dimension up here so you can see that's 2.5. Okay. Now we finish our sketch. So we've got our wood extrude. We don't want to add these cardboard pieces to our cardboard extrude. These are our dowel extrudes, which are different. We want to make a new extrude for these. And we're going to call those cardboard thickness. Cardboard thickness. And I like symmetry. And there we go. Now we've got our pulleys. We'll rename this. This is pulley inner. Obviously, you could have drawn these on top of each other. You could have done another sketch on the face of that. There's a lot of different ways to do that. Okay, pulley inner, pulley outer. So that will help us assemble our pulley. You'll need 2 of these and 1 of these for your pulley. All right, that completes our crankshaft parts. You now have all the pieces you need to start assembling. We'll do that in our next video.